All right, we will get started on this live stream in about once more people start joining. As you can see right now, I have my velocity mode up here, and I'll talk about more about this in a few minutes. And in fact, we got a tornado warning right here, so we will talk about this to start. All right, here we go. We'll start off this. As more people join in, we will talk about other severe threats that we are having. Excuse how I have this set up. Don't ask why it's like this. Tornado warning. This is on the north sides of the Quad Cities due to a rotation. I will show it to you on radar right now. Rotation right here, just to the northeast of the Davenport radar. This is moving into Illinois, north of Lake Claire. This should be. I can pull up the warning here. Tornado warning. This expires at 11:15. National Weather Service in the Quad Cities has issued a tornado warning for central Scott County and eastern Iowa till 11:15. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Maysville, which is off to your right, to your left. I think this camera's flipped, but Maysville right here. This is moving off to the east, north of Davenport. This is moving east at around 40 miles an hour. This is obviously a tornado warning for the Quad Cities, but that is not the main focus of this. We had more severe weather to talk about up north. We will talk about more about this tornado warning in a little bit. However, the severe thunderstorm about to impact Rockford right now. I will take Milwaukee radar. This one's probably closer. Excuse how it's flipped. I cannot figure out how to get camera to turn around, but severe thunderstorm right in Rockford. This thing has about 60-mile-an-hour winds with it, a lot of lightning, especially south sides of Rockford. This will, I cannot rule out a brief spin up, or at least rotation. As I said, this is from Milwaukee radar. There might be a little bit of rotation right in there. But this, obviously, it's moving right into the center of Rockford. But I do not expect it to be a very strong tornado, if there even is any. I could pull up what all the thermodynamics look like for this later on. But once again, severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Ogle County, northwest Ogle County, and southeast and Winnebago County. The Chicago severe thunderstorm warning here includes northwest Ogle County, western Winnebago County. This is this severe thunderstorm warning right here. This one to the east as well. I can also talk about that one as well. Okay, severe thunderstorm capable of producing 60-mile-an-hour winds. Law enforcement has reported trees to power lines down in Galena. Galena is far northwest Illinois, near Dubuque. Yes, I know there's a tornado warning for Davenport. Thank you. So wind damage, as you can see, there's storm reports up north, Dubuque and Galena. This is a long route 20. I can read what this report says here. Thunderstorm wind damage, trees down with power lines. This is in Galena. This is moving toward Rockford. So what caused this is moving toward Rockford. I get it. It was reported an hour ago, but either way, we still have a potential of around 60-mile-an-hour winds moving into the center of Rockford right now. And down in Davenport, again, we got the tornado warning, as Mr. Liam here likes to tell me about. He's one of my meteorologists in my weather server on Discord, if you want to go join that. Davenport, north side to Davenport with this tornado warning with the rotation. You can see it in the middle of your screen. It's going to annoy me having that camera flip like that. It is what it is, I guess. So just think of it as normal. Just flip. Just take everything I say right now, but flip it. So, it'd be probably better to draw it. So you got your outbound winds here, your inbound winds here, and that'll bring the rotation right around in there. Yeah, great. That's nice to see. Okay, so this is on the southeast sides of Eldridge, Iowa. This is north of Davenport, north of Bettendorf, again in Iowa. This will cross the Mississippi River into Illinois, north of LeClaire. And by the time it moves off to the east, the thermodynamics for tornadoes should start to diminish. The severe weather and tornado risk is this green line. It's only at 2%, and it is only stretching as far east as, I believe that is Sterling. Yes, it moves just as far east as Sterling. So Chicagoland, not really too much severe weather to talk about here. The only real concern is just 60-mile-an-hour winds in Rockford right now. And in fact, the National Weather Service just extended that severe thunderstorm warning, and now it does include Rockford. So I will talk about that real quick, as this does impact nearby areas. This is about 50 miles to my northwest, if I remember correctly. I could be completely off. I will read the severe thunderstorm warning here. This is until 11:15. So this does include the center of Rockford. In fact, it includes all of Rockford, McChesney Park, Loves Park, New Milford, Byron. It extends as far south as Davis Junction, Mount Morris. I'm just reading cities in this area. Roscoe, Rockton. This severe thunderstorm warning. This is, okay, it's, did not issue one? Oh, wait. Okay. Here, okay, so it's here. I can actually read. It would probably be faster to read it from here. So yeah, severe thunderstorm warning, 25 minutes. Northern Ogle County, Winnebago County. Severe thunderstorms extend from a line near Durand to near Byron, moving to near Forest, then moving east at 55. So the storm motion has picked up in speed. The storm motion has picked up in speed here as it's approaching the Rockford area. Oh boy. Okay. So yeah, severe thunderstorm. Again, like I said, moving off to the east, this does include Rockford. This will be on the north side of the Chicagoland area. This should stay north of Route 64. I do not want to say that's rotation. It does not look like it. Let me turn my light off here. I guess it works. I do not want to say that's rotation right there, just to the southwest of Rockford. Don't want to say that is. This is coming out of Milwaukee radar, so if that is rotation, it could be there, but it's very broad, very not localized. Usually when you have localized rotation, it does indicate that there is a possible tornado that does not look like it has strong rotation. We still have the tornado warning in effect for parts of Davenport, parts of the northern parts of the Quad Cities. Wow. Okay, what is going on? Like I said, northern parts of the Quad Cities, rotation has definitely broadened out. This is still north of Bettendorf. This area, I believe there's like some baseball park, some newly formed areas right in this area. Rotation is just to the north of I-80 right now. This will be north of LeClaire, moving into Illinois. Moving north of LeClaire, moving into Illinois. It looks like it is taking a beeline path for the town of Hillsdale. And then it'll eventually stay south of 88, and then eventually Tampico, and moving on to the east probably won't matter once it at least passes Hillsdale, because the thermodynamics here are very, very not inducive for tornadoes. If we go back to the severe thunderstorm warning, this is the main thing we got to watch, especially because it is impacting the Chicagoland area. within my county warning area where I have to watch the severe weather. It does include, if you want to know for future reference here, my county warning area that I talk about for severe weather. It includes Lake, McHenry, Boone, Winnebago, pretty much all of northern Illinois, as far south as at least I-74. So this does pretty much include where I am right now. Tornado, oops, forgot I am mirroring my screen here. Tornado warning, I believe, updated here. In fact, I believe that's the only tornado warning that is, yeah, it's the only tornado warning we have in the entire nation right now. Just the one north of Davenport here. This, I believe this is until 11 o'clock. No, this is until 11:15. Rotation, like I said, is broad. It's not localized. It's very weak. Hello. Very weak rotation, very broad rotation, especially approaching the town of Lake Claire right now. There's a lot of lightning with this, so if there is any rotation, you would be able to see it, especially due to a lot of lightning that is here. Hillsdale, like I said, is in the path. Rapid City in Illinois is also in the path right here. And then moving back to the north, Rockford, like I said, oops, that's terminal. Rockford, again, 60-mile-an-hour winds. Actually, I believe they're now saying 70-mile-an-hour winds here. So, no, it's still 60. So expect roofing and siding damage and all that, trees down as well. Like I said, this very, very broad rotation. There's just not enough CAPE in the atmosphere, convective available potential energy. There's not enough wind shear, which is what spins the storms. Not enough of it in this area to fuel long track tornadoes like we've had in the Great Plains the past several days. I'm advocating for a lot of people. I do not want tornadoes. Nobody does, especially when they hit areas, major metropolitan areas. Like we just had one down in Matador, Texas on Wednesday. That was a worst case scenario there. That went through a city area, and luckily it didn't hit anything major. It did hit the west side of the town. It still caused 4 deaths, but it could have been so much worse. If it tracked a little bit more to the east, it would have been a really, really bad situation down there. But luckily that didn't happen. We hope it doesn't happen here. Luckily, this rotation that's near the Quad Cities with the tornado warning, very, very broad. It's a good thing we got a radar right here. Yeah, they're going to drop this warning. There's no way they're going to let it go because, I mean, the rotation, it's north of I-80. It's broadened out, which is a good thing. No signs of very strong rotation as it's coming into Illinois. But, I mean, you can easily get these brief spin-up tornadoes that can easily cause some sort of damage. Now, I want to pull you to reflectivity mode. As you can see, we had a pretty good hook right when the storm was over the DVM radar. I am rewinding the radar here. Thunderstorm wind damage reported at the Davenport Airport. 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts at the Davenport Airport. I will just call it the Davenport from now on because it sounds weird to say Davenport Airport. But 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts reported there. This was at 10:40, so 15 minutes ago. And now as this thing moves out to the east, it has definitely broadened out, which is a good thing. That means the rotation is pretty much gone. And let's get another look at velocity. We're not even going to look at this anymore after this because this is honestly very, very broad rotation. No signs of any rotation, no signs of any damage. It could have just been a severe thunderstorm that had brief rotation with it that caused the National Weather Service to issue the tornado warning. Luckily, it did not become as bad as it did. In fact, we got a severe thunderstorm watch. This has been in effect, but I just haven't mentioned it until now. This is until 1 a.m. As severe thunderstorms. I do not expect it to be extended toward the Chicagoland area. I don't expect it to be extended off to the east as the severe weather threat will start to diminish as it approaches I-39. And as it moves out to the east, I expect it to be here around midnight, at least within outer fringes of the Chicagoland, like DeKalb County, Kane County. It should be around here around 11 o'clock to midnight tonight. I'd say 11:30 at most. In fact, we got a little bit of convection or storms, as everybody says, but I call it convection. We got a little bit of them forming right here. Excuse that, why it's so washed out. Let me fix that. Okay, that works. There's a little bit of convection, a little bit of storms right extending from Rochelle down to near Streeter. That is moving off to the east. There is lightning with this, so I may start to see lightning outside my window here. But for the time being, I need that light, I swear. For the time being, it does not look like there is any significant damaging winds, especially within the area, which is a good thing. Once again, is the Rockford situation. You got 60-mile-an-hour winds going into Rockford, which is 60-mile-an-hour winds. That's pretty much equivalent to an EF0 tornado. 60-mile-an-hour winds going through a major metropolitan area. We already saw what happened with it in Tulsa. I can't remember what day that was, but in Tulsa they had 120-mile-an-hour winds, and that was almost a disaster. So 60-mile-an-hour winds, I get it, it's half of what Tulsa had, but it still could cause damage to roofs, siding, trees, power lines, all that good stuff. So if you have any loose materials, you should have brought them in by now, considering it's nighttime and you kind of don't want loose materials out there. But if you haven't, off to the east, you still got a little bit of time. But in Rockford, you should have already done that by now. But so it looks like right now the worst of it is starting to move into the west sides of downtown Rockford. Pull velocity, this will measure wind speed. If a spin up tornado happens right now, that's not good, especially if it tracks to Rockford. They already had I believe they had about 2 or 3 on March 31st, that day with the high risk of severe weather. And in fact, down near Byron, either that's strong winds in Byron or that's starting a rotation. It's really hard to tell. This will be east of Davis Junction. This is north. Actually, this is to the west of town of Stillman Valley. Stillman Valley, I'll zoom in on it right there. That's Stillman Valley right there. It will move right towards Stillman Valley. They're honestly they're honestly a pretty good tornado target, especially out in the west. Severe weather. A lot of severe weather we've had in our area. It has there's been a few tornadoes in this area, so it just depends on whether or not severe weather does, or tornadoes actually happen in this area. And I'll be right back with this. All right, here we go. We are back. Yeah, obviously that rotation, you're still in Valley. It's either it is going to be rotation or it's going to be something pretty close. Or it could be just pretty damaging straight line winds here. Rockford still has damaging winds headed right for it. We could actually pull up reflectivity, see how bad the rain is there. Obviously, they're getting the worst of it now. They're getting the thick of it here. If you know what, let's go back to that tornado warning here for a second. They still have it out, which is strange considering where the tornado velocity signature was. And in fact, there might even be something forming to the east of Lake Claire. I don't know if that, I can't tell if that is the same as what caused the tornado warning earlier. And in fact, it is. It's just moving on to the southeast. It could be localizing again, which is not good. You don't want it to localize, otherwise there could be a possible tornado. And yes, they have issued another tornado warning. This is on the. This does include Davenport. This includes the downtown Quad Cities area. We could talk about this here. This includes Davenport, Rock Island. That is the rotation. You could see it right there. We're going to take correlation coefficient here, which measures particles in the atmosphere. Particles in the atmosphere, and if it does pick up debris, or particles in the atmosphere, meaning like rain, hail, and all that. But if it picks up debris like damaged debris and all that, it'll start to make a hole. We call it a debris ball. Luckily, we have not seen any yet, which is a good thing. Obviously, the one up here, that's actually one I wanted. I'm surprised I haven't pulled that up yet. Severe thunderstorm here. That is not a debris ball there. That's just radar contamination there. But this is a big one, especially if a tornado does happen in here. This is a big one to look at because, especially if it's going through a major metropolitan area, if it picks up a lot of debris, it will show on the correlation coefficient, especially if it's within a area with a lot of buildings, because if a tornado picks up debris, the radar will pick it up as well, sometimes thinking it is hail or rain, even though most of the time it will not be, especially if you see a hook forming on radar. We are not getting into that. Thunderstorm wind gust damage, lawn furniture, chairs, lawn furniture, trash cans display, small twigs broken. This is on the west sides of downtown Davenport, possibly due to either straight line wind damage or possibly a tornado. Still cannot confirm whether or not we've had a tornado tonight or not. But either way, the National Weather Service put out another tornado warning, this time including Davenport, including all the Quad Cities, including the town of Hampton, East Moline, Carbon Cliff, Kelowna, northern side of the Coal Valley. This does not include the airport in the Quad Cities. If we go back up to the north, still, this is the main focus we're talking about, especially for the Chicagoland area. Severe weather in here, severe damaging wind gusts in this area. Watching that, especially near Davis Junction, that could be a possible brief spin-off. We could take Chicago. It's stacked rotation, which is usually never a tornado, obviously. This honestly may even start to form one now. Southwest side of Davis Junction, southeast of Stillman Valley, north of White Rock. It's going to be very, very weak if it does even do anything. But we'll just wait and see what happens with that. I'll definitely keep an eye on that one. But the Quad Cities, as obviously I said, this includes I talk about pretty much all of northern Illinois when I do these severe stuff, and this includes it. Rock Island County as well. Rotation, I believe it's right there along the river. I know there's the Wind Trust Arena, or I forget, a Vibrant Arena right here, Moline, and a lot of visiting areas in here and all the tourist activities, but it should be quiet because it's 11 o'clock at night. Looks like it's be right over the Rock Island Arsenal. If there is rotation, I believe it would be right in here. Rotation looks like it is right there, but it's not very strong. It doesn't look as strong as the one up to the north earlier, but I mean, you could still get brief spin-up tornadoes in this area. The environment earlier today had a 5% tornado risk out to the west, including, in fact, we got another tornado warning there. We'll talk about that briefly, but that's not even close to where we are. But we had 5% tornado risk out in this area today, and that literally did nothing. It's what they call meteorological bust, which means they forecast something that ends up not happening or something like that. But if we could take, what is that? Go Des Moines. So this is a tornado warning for Pocahontas, Iowa. I remember back in 2013 they had an EF4 tornado go through that town. But tornado warning here. This is not even close to the Chicagoland. This is in the Des Moines area. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado over the Pocahontas airport. Moving east at 25, and this is what they call a mini supercell here. There's nothing near it, so this has all the info in the world, even though it's just a 2% tornado risk. They've actually updated the 2% tornado risk. There was a 5% earlier, and then they dropped that because they realized nothing would happen. And then you had 5% tornado risk up here in Minnesota, which actually did a lot of stuff, including put down several photogenic tornadoes. The dynamics here, very, very weak. Definitely not conducive for tornadoes, and I still do not know why that tornado warning up to the north, the original tornado warning, is still in effect, as the rotation area has left that tornado warning area. Now it looks like it's just straight line winds in that area. I'm going to read this tornado warning. It's hard to tell where they had the warning issued. I assume it's over west by Davenport. Severe thunderstorm over Credit Island or Davenport. So it is this thing right here. It just does not look good to me. It does not look like it is strong rotation unless it is that, which I could be mistaken here. I don't know why I turned that off. Oh boy, what happened here? Sometimes this happens. The radar crashes. I'm going to figure out why. Don't know why it did that. Okay, we're back. Okay. Yeah, so the Quad Cities again, this is now approaching Moline. This is still over the Rock Island Arsenal. I believe that is the rotation right in there. So if you got family in the Quad Cities, tell them tornado warning, get to shelter. North of 74, north of the airport, the Quad Cities airport there. This includes East Moline, Hampton, Carbon Cliff, Kelowna, northern parts of Coal Valley, northern parts of Milan, all of the Quad City downtown area. This is still south of Lee Claire. Unless that is the rotation north of Silvis. To me, it doesn't look like it. It does look pretty good to a naked eye, but for me, it just doesn't. Actually, this is new. Thunderstorm wind gust damage. Thunderstorm wind gust, actually, that was reported 5 minutes ago. This is for the thing up in Rockford. We'll use Chicago from now on here. Oh boy. There could be a possible tornado. Is that radar contamination? No. There could be. That's not good. Oops, don't ask what that. It's spotter network. 70-mile-an-hour winds in Rockford right now. This is the lowest tilt I can get the radar right now. The lowest I can scan the radar or the surface here, and I believe I am scanning it at about. Not that. I believe I am scanning the radar from there. About 5,500 feet in the atmosphere. So there could be a possible tornado in the or in the Rockford area. I have getting 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts, gate to gate shear at least. It could be more, could be less. I'm not too sure, but there could be this. I don't know where this came from. Possible tornado on the east sides of the Rockford metro. In fact, Chicago has been showing that for a while. We'll get reports in the morning. We'll see what happens here. But if this is a possible tornado, it will be crossing I-3990 north of Cherry Valley. This is south. This will be crossing if this is a tornado, and it honestly looks like it is. Cannot get what road this is. Whatever road this is in the northeast sides of Rockford, that's where the tornado will be crossing, or south of that. It will be crossing I-3990 there. In fact, they might have. No, they didn't. Okay. We'll keep an eye on that because if they issue tornado warning, we're going to stay on it until it expires. But this will be going on the north side of Belvedere. north of Cherry Valley, east sides of Rockford, south sides of Timberlane. And there may be even another one right here. Look at that, east of New Milford. If you got family in this area, northwest side, south, pretty much Rockford Metro. Tornado precautions, as there could be a possible spin-up tornado, and that is a large area of rotation. I'm not too sure whether or not that's damaging winds or not, but if that's a tornado, that's huge. Another way to figure out, like I said earlier, correlation coefficient here. Nothing yet, which is, that could be good. New Milford, let's look at that because, okay, so this rotation area right here, crossing I-39, 51, this is north of where, okay, this is north of Monroe Center, north of 72. This is about where the tornado that happened on March 31st that hit Belvedere crossed. But either that is massive radar contamination, which is, that's a whole different topic here. Either that's massive radar contamination or that's a large area of rotation. Another severe thunderstorm warning has just been issued by the National Weather Service in Chicago. This includes Ogle County, Winnebago, or sorry, did I see it? Ogle County, DeKalb County, Boone County, McHenry County. This one is until 11:45. We're going to see if they mention brief spin-ups. No, they do not. This includes, if you want to get this out to people, Belvedere, Rockford, Loves Park, McChesney Park, Sycamore, Roscoe, Harvard, Marengo, Poplar Grove, Chenoa, Candlewick Lake, Cherry Valley, Davis Junction, Kirkland, Capron, Kingston, Timberlane, New Milford, Lindenwood, and Monroe Center. If you have family or you know anybody that is within this area, tell them you got 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts possible. And now they're saying 70 mile an hour wind gusts now, and that is because of that. If that localizes, that will become a tornado. They got 70 mile an hour wind gusts headed right for the town of Belvedere. North sides of Belvedere, if you are there. If you are on outside, you're going to get a lot of wind. You're going to get a lot of rain. It says right now north of Cherry Valley. There's a Cracker Barrel here. They're getting a lot of wind right now. If we could pull up Inspector Tool, which like inspects winds, I got a 76 right here, and actually 80. Okay, you got 80. They got over almost 100 mile an hour winds in Rockford right now. This is west of I-39, west of Hurricane Harbor in Cherry Valley or Rockford, whatever you want to consider this area. Move it to the north. Why is it like that? Okay. Almost 100 mile an hour wind gusts in Rockford right now. I think my radar froze. There we go. Just can't get that 94 or 98 to pull up. There it is. 98.4 mile an hour wind gusts in Rockford. There will be damage here. Damaging straight line winds. It could even be a possible tornado. It could be an unwarned QLCS tornado is what they call a quasi-linear convective system. It could be that in the center or the east sides of Rockford, north of Cherry Valley. This will be north of Hurricane Harbor. Moving off to the northeast, or east-northeast, I should say, south of Business Route 20. Again, this will cross 39, it'll cross 90, it will go into Rockford, it'll hit the Chrysler plant that's here. In fact, we got a damaging wind gust report. Lawn chair, this is 3 minutes ago. Small twigs broken, this is damaging winds, this is... honestly, I would pull up Milwaukee radar here because it's either that is either a lot of wind or that's just radar contamination. That's why it's a good thing we got a lot of radars, right? Because Chicago's not pulling that up. But Chicago from here is getting a 100 mile an hour wind gust in Rockford right now. And that could be localizing rotation right there. There could be even a second one. We'll see in the morning whether or not this thing did eventually produce a tornado. But okay, it is broadened out. That is a good thing. This is stacked rotation, which is good. It could be a downburst, microburst, depending on which way it's forming. I cannot remember which way it is exactly. But the wind has definitely died down. That's a good thing. Strongest winds I got right now, 73, 70, a little over 70 mile an hour winds there. I got another 70 and a half down there, and then a 76 near Monroe Center. Yeah, 76 near Monroe Center. Again, this is the only severe thunderstorm warning in the Chicagoland area. In fact, look at this. Both tornado warnings in the Quad Cities are gone, so that's a good thing. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning in the Chicagoland area. Like I said, this is for 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. There is a line of storms that is impacting DeKalb right now. There's not a lot of lightning with this anymore, which is probably good. Severe thunderstorm here. Moving into DeKalb, or not severe thunderstorm, I'm sorry. Just significant thunderstorms, significant rain producers, which we need because we're in a severe drought right now. Significant severe weather. There's significant rain. I'm sorry. Let's hope it is a significant rain producer because it'll get rid of the drought that we've been in for the past month, and it's just good that we get a lot of rain. This area is not too bad when it comes to drought, but especially in and around the Chicagoland area is pretty bad. So it's a good thing we're getting this rain. Let's go back here. Looks like Belvedere, if that thing localizes, which it looks like it might be now, because this is out of Chicago. Whenever you see red on here it's left, but in reality it's red on the right, green on the left, that is a sign of a cyclonic rotation. It does not look like we have that right now, which is good. I mean, you could easily get a brief spin-up tornado on the northwest sides of Belvedere. I would not take any risks with that. I would not go out and look for this, even though the typical Midwestern stereotype is to do that. I wouldn't. But as of right now, it does not look like it could be a rotate. It's just hard to tell whether or not, especially considering you're scanning the atmosphere at about 5,000 feet. But in Belvedere, they're at least getting damaging winds. That's pretty much the main concern. We just got more lightning there. The main thing is damaging winds. It doesn't matter how much rain you get. I get it. You may get some flash flooding due to the ground being overwhelmed with all this rain. But the real cause of concern is the damaging winds. It does not have, if it was rain that was concerned, they'd issue a flash flood warning. But if it was damaging winds above 58 miles an hour, then yes, they'd issue a severe thunderstorm warning. But here they got 70, and I'm going to zoom back in on that. I'm telling you, that's a lot of wind they're getting. I have a 110 reading on the right near I-90. Right near I-90, east of Irene Road. This is south of 20. Severe thunderstorm warning. DeKalb, McHenry counties. If you got people in this area, let them know. 110 mile an hour winds along I-90, and that's like I said, it's about 5,000 feet in the atmosphere. It doesn't matter. You could still get at least 70 mile an hour wind gusts down at the surface. Belvedere, they're getting a lot of wind right now as well, especially northwest side. They're about to be impacted by the worst of it. The storm, or at least some showers, approaching the DeKalb-Kane County line right here east of DeKalb, east of Sycamore. This will actually be the first rain we get in almost a month, which is honestly a good thing. You got a thunderstorm down near Ottawa as well, and you got one forming here near Paw Paw. But you got northern parts of DeKalb County are under the severe thunderstorm warning. I expect to see more damaging wind reports out of Boone, McHenry, north parts of DeKalb County within the next, honestly, until the morning, because that's when the severe weather threat obviously is gone. People can go out and see what damage they've gotten. But like I said, this is outside the 2% tornado risk, but it does not matter. You can still get brief spin-up tornadoes in it. We're going to see in the morning whether or not this actually did produce tornadoes or not. From a naked eye, it looks like it could, honestly. But looking at it from here just does not look good. You got the worst of the winds actually right now going right into Belvedere. Luckily, this 110 reading we have down here is not in the center of Belvedere. That could be detrimental, especially since they had the what do you call this? You had that roof theater on what do you call it? The theater roof that collapsed back in March. So this is another damaging wind event again for them. They're just, honestly, they're unlucky this year. But we're just going to watch this roll through. And then actually the next town in line is Marengo. If this thing decides to hold together, it will go through the town of Marengo with the damaging winds, at least 70 mile an hour. You got over 100 miles an hour screaming at the surface level. Still a lot of lightning with this. So, I mean, if you're crazy enough to look outside a window and see if there's brief spin up, you can easily see it with lightning, but I would not recommend doing that. Nobody would, unless your name is mine. It's a good thing I got a window facing to the west, but I have not been able to see lightning yet. But still looking at this is north of DeKalb by at least 20 to 30 miles. From DeKalb, about 20, 25 miles here. But this is still, obviously, Belvedere is still on the path of this severe weather here. New Milford, it's to the northeast of that. It's really hard to tell whether this could be rotation or not. We could say correlation. Let's say correlation coefficient here. This, like I said, that's not a CC drop. And when they say CC drop, that means there's possible debris in the atmosphere. But that is not one. Honestly, to a naked eye, it would, but in reality, it's not. Like I said, another one. There's one right there, one up there. But like I said, this is not really CC drop, which is a good thing. I can always show another time. I can always show what an actual CC drop would look like on radar. Actually, a good example of that, if you search up the March 24, 2023 Amory, Mississippi tornado on correlation coefficient. That is a perfect example of what a CC drop looks like. You have a signature, what they call a debris ball. You have that on radar. And if you see that, that's a telltale sign of what could be a violent tornado. I'm going to turn this on for a second. I'm going to keep talking about this. Just keep talking about it here for a second. Let's see here. All right, we're going to pull this back up here. Phone is being funny. They're getting about 60 mile an hour wind gusts here. In fact, you got a 75 on the east sides of Belvedere there, and again a 65 there. But like I said, this is not scanning the atmosphere, or not scanning the surface, it's scanning the atmosphere. So there's when you had 110 mile an hour wind reading back there, that was about, I believe, I'll measure this correctly, about 4,700 feet up. So honestly, it's good you didn't have 110 mile an hour wind gusts, because that is high end EF1, even EF2 tornado level winds there. Luckily you didn't have that. And in fact, okay, so radar's starting to become a little bit contaminated here. A lot of dead pixels on that radar, but it does not look like we could have rotation with this, which is a good thing. We're going to let this pass. We're going to let this severe thunderstorm warning go, and then we'll end the stream here. But like I said, eventually this will impact, once it moves out to the east, it'll go into Crystal Lake. It'll go toward Algonquin, northern parts of Elgin. If they do decide to extend the warning, it will include Elgin. It'll also go towards Schaumburg, Prospect Heights, Buffalo Hills, Mundelein, Fox Lake, Spring Grove, McHenry, Heartland, Crystal Lake, Waukegan. So, I mean, pretty much almost north of I-90 everywhere. Along and north of that and a little bit south is where the main severe weather threat will be for tonight. I mean, you can't rule out isolated wind gusts in this area here. And this obviously moving off to the east. I again apologize for how this looks. We'll figure it out later. But yeah, I cannot rule out isolated wind gusts of at least 60 miles an hour. Within that line, that's approaching Yorkville. That's still to the west of 47 there. I can't rule out a 60 mile an hour wind gust with that, but you got the 70 mile an hour wind gust up north, and that's obviously the main concern that we have here. Other cities in the line of this: Rutland Township, Hampshire. Hampshire's in fact next. Genoa is about to get hit, but the main areas for possible damaging winds when you see this, thought I'd mention this right now. When you see this, you got some inflow here. There could be a possible rotation here. This is just what I observe. It's not for sure. It's honestly what only I see. That's what most of this is. It's honestly what I see. It's honestly my prediction for what I say and all that. Right here, on reflectivity, it did look like it had at least brief rotation, but you can't always go off of what reflectivity says. You always got to look at all your other radar products, and velocity is a really good one because it measures wind speed. And back when the storm in Davenport, I talked about it. You can always go back and rewatch this. Back when I was doing Davenport, when we were talking about that tornado warning, there was I showed the hook, how the radar looked when you had outbound. Outbound, inbound winds, and then you got the rotation here. That's not it. I'm just giving an example, but that's honestly what it looked like here on reflectivity. Velocity did not show the same thing, which means there is not good enough evidence to show that there's a possible tornado. I've been stressing this the entire time. There could be possible spin-ups. There could be possible spin-ups with this, and it can't rule out at least a brief tornado. It's going to be really, really hard to tell whether or not there will actually be one, because one, it's nighttime, two, nobody could see because one, it's nighttime. But if it was more daytime, you had more daylight or more light, for that rather, you would be able to confirm tornadoes more often. But honestly, have not been able to see any yet, which is a good thing. But usually, all the main thing is just this area right here and this damaging wind gust. It's a few miles to the west of Marengo. From the west side of town, looks like about 5 miles west of Marengo here. Flood advisory is what I'm getting right now. I'm going to switch this on for a second. Let me double check what I'm getting here. Honestly, I have not seen anything that says flood advisory, which is a good thing, but this radar will not show that. Okay. I'm going to pull up a different radar here. Okay, they're saying Adams County, Adam and Pike County is where this flood advisory is. Let me turn this back on. Adam and Pike County. I got a paper of that. Let me see. Adams and Pike. That is south. That's down here. Somebody told me that, and honestly, it's not really within our area of concern, because I said pretty much everywhere north of I-74, and 74 is this diagonal highway you see going from Bloomington to Peoria to Champaign. That's honestly where I'll focus on severe weather the most. So unless a flood advisory comes out in this area, I will mention it. But going back to here, still you got the 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts here. This honestly is moving slower than what I believe the forecasters have been predicting, but it honestly looks like it is starting to weaken a little bit, which is good news. We'll take another velocity product here. I'm actually going to take Milwaukee radar because it's a little bit closer to where we're measuring here. It's just really, really hard to tell whether or not you could have a brief spin up in this or not. I've been stressing that the entire time, obviously, because tornadoes at nighttime equal bad. And Marengo is in the direct line of fire where a possible tornado could even spin up. Could even get a brief funnel cloud, and somebody will call in and say it's a tornado, but in reality it's not. We'll go the half down rule, which means if a funnel cloud is more than halfway to the ground, you would consider it a tornado. And we have not heard of anything. I've not heard of anything yet, which is good. It's honestly a good thing. But we could always go back in the archives, and in fact, we will go back and look at the archives, because it's Remember that Amory thing I was talking about? We'll look at that. That actually, we'll go midnight here. So I'll show you what I was talking about earlier with that debris ball, so you get a pretty good idea. Okay, that's a weird radar. So you can get a pretty good idea of what I was talking about. This is down in Mississippi, near the town of Amory. You'll see here. I'll replay. Okay, you see that? That is what they call a violent tornado. This was March 25th of 2023, so back a few months ago. Can I pull up the radar I want? It will not let me. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna deal with this. That is a telltale sign of a violent tornado, right there. Hey, if you see something like that on radar, you better pray, because that is bad. We could actually take. Okay, the radar is going to take a while to load, especially when you do these archive stuff. It will take a while to load. Again, like I said, this is in Mississippi. This was back in March 24. That same day we had the that Rolling Fork tornado. Probably remember that, especially if you're in the weather world, or at least been following it. But there, you can see the town of Emory right there. Just keep an eye on them. And when this radar loads, tell me if you see anything that looks more like a circle. In fact, it will not load. This thing likes to be slow, but this was the storm system on March 25th. It produced a lot of tornadoes. I can actually get the actual number right now. Significant, one violent meaning EF4 plus. The actual number of tornadoes that occurred on this day was, yeah, you could start drum roll. I can tell you guys are doing it. 33. It was probably a way lower number than you thought, but luckily it was lower than a lot of people were expecting. But then you had what happened a week later on March 31st, and you had the third largest tornado outbreak in American history, actually in world history. Okay, the radar is just about ready to load. Usually I never take this kind of radar, but it's necessary for learning what different meanings of radar is, because that's how else you can learn. You can learn from right here, right now. Okay, here we go. Okay, what? I guess Columbus. Okay, there's a massive radar gap. What is going on here? Let's try this. Go here. All right. See if this works. I put it back to 10:45 p.m. on this day. And nothing. Okay, wait. Ooh, this is annoying. There we go. I swear, if this does another radar gap, I will punch to my phone. And I'll do it on camera. Okay, whatever. It's stuck on 99%. Okay, whatever. We'll go back to normal. We'll get rid of archive mode. Go back here. Still got the severe thing. Even this is taking a while, too. What's going on? Yeah, it's just that radar is being glitchy. All right, we're back to Chicago radar. Honestly, okay, looks like my screen has frozen. What is going on? Honestly. In fact, okay, what is going on? Let's retry this. We'll give one more update and then I'll end this, because obviously the radar is, one, not working, and two, oh, I know why. Turn my Wi-Fi off. Okay. That's why the radar stopped working. So it wasn't this thing's fault, it was my fault. Okay, here's the final update on this, and then we'll go, because this thing is honestly weakening, and that's a good thing. So severe thunderstorm warning until 11:45, so another 8 minutes. Severe thunderstorm warning, northwest side of the Chicagoland area with 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. This is south of Marengo, north of Genoa, headed for the town of Hampshire, and then eventually Algonquin, Carpentersville, and Elgin. So with that, that is the end of this stream. Thank you for all for joining. And then stay weather aware tonight, especially if you're in the Chicagoland area, as we got severe weather that's possibly rolling in. I cannot rule out a severe thunderstorm warning or two down south here. Cannot rule one out here, but you never know. This year's been really weird with severe weather, but stay weather aware tonight. Stay safe. With that, thank you and goodbye.